G'day, my name's Hooke. I'm the Sustainability Policy and Program Design Manager with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Nutrien is an agricultural retailer and service provider. Our clients are farmers and we provide products and services to farmers to help them grow the food and fibre that they do on farm. In a cropping sense, these are things like fertiliser and crop protection products. For livestock farmers, it's things like ear tags and fencing material. So my role with Nutrien's in the commercial sustainability team. We work with farmers to measure and manage sustainability on farm. And when we're doing that, we want to be collecting really high integrity data and making sure that what we're collecting on farm is accurate. In order to do that, we've got to have really clear processes and be dealing with really good data to get accurate results at the other end. When we're collecting greenhouse gas emissions data on farm, we're collecting data in a number of different categories. It might be environmental data, production data, or general property information. In a cropping sense, that could include information on the inputs that they're using, so the types of fertiliser, the quantity of fertiliser. It could include information on their yield and the outcome of their cropping program. In a livestock system, it's information about what type of stock are they running. Is it a sheep enterprise? Is it a beef enterprise? How many stock do they have? What are their numbers? How heavy are they? And how does that weight change through the season? And all of that information feeds into the calculators that we use to generate a carbon footprint for the property. Increasingly there's interest in what's happening on farm in a sustainability sense. That interest is coming from consumers, it's coming from government, it's coming from other stakeholders such as investors. They're interested in knowing how farmers are managing their environmental impact, what they're doing on farm to improve their environmental impact, and how they can contribute to that happening. So some examples of that might be in a canola cropping system. They might be using an alternative fertiliser product that involves reduced greenhouse gas emissions. There's often an increased cost in investing in that new technology, and someone's got to bear that cost. So our job at Nutrien, what we're working on, is developing programming to encourage the supply chain to work with the grower to meet that cost. When we're collecting data on farm, we've got a team who work directly with growers. Often it's one-on-one conversations. Sometimes it's conversations over the phone or over Teams. How they collect that data, it's generally a kitchen table conversation. The farmers will have that data in different forms. It might be in their farm management software. It might be written down in the notebook that they keep in their top pocket. Our team's role is helping to take farmers through that journey so that the data collection process is as easy as possible. We're in the early stages of this sustainability journey, and often farmers aren't terribly familiar with the data that is required to develop these outputs. So often it's starting that conversation, starting that journey around collecting that data, maintaining that data, and ensuring it's of high integrity. Sustainability is really important to everything that's happening on farm, and farmers are inherently interested in sustainability and conscious of what's happening in terms of environmental impact on farm. The reason why they're conscious of that is because they're reliant on the health of the soil and the landscape to be producing food and fibre, and to keep producing food and fibre. That's really important in a global context because the population's growing and we need to produce more food to feed a growing population. In order to do that sustainably, we've got to make sure that we're using our environmental assets responsibly. In my role with Nutrien, I deal with a lot of different stakeholders, including stakeholders in government, researchers, and some of our colleagues overseas as well. Sustainability in agriculture is really important to feeding a global population. So there's a lot of wicked problems that we're trying to solve for, and we need to be collaborating with everybody that's impacting what's happening on farm to solve those problems. That includes trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and the emissions associated with production systems. But in order to do that, we need to do it without limiting production. And ideally, we want to keep growing production and productivity to feed a growing population. So those connections with government, connections with researchers are really important to be solving those problems. A lot of what we're doing on farm in terms of measuring greenhouse gas emissions and other environmental metrics is a really new space. So for us as a business with a network all across the country, one of our challenges was the need to upskill our people and also to inform growers about what we're planning to do and what we can do on farm. In order to do that, we developed an education program. So we've been delivering workshops around the country, firstly to our network and then rolling that out to growers to inform them about what we can do on farm in a sustainability sense. For people interested in sustainable agriculture, I think the career prospects are really bright. There's more and more interest in what's happening on farm in a sustainability sense. Consumers are interested in where their food's coming from. Government's interested in what's happening on farm and ensuring that things are being done responsibly. And all of those factors mean that there's growing opportunities and career prospects in terms of helping farmers to measure and manage sustainability on farm. For students who want to get into sustainable agriculture, I think a career pathway in science is probably the most common pathway into these types of roles. My pathway was a little bit different, and I studied law and politics, worked in public policy, focused on agricultural policy and environmental policy, and that's how I came into this role. I think what that demonstrates is while there's a common pathway into the agriculture industry, there's also a diversity of people that work in it. And it doesn't matter what pathway you choose and what your educational background might be, there's so many great opportunities in agriculture that you can find a place. I think for any role in agriculture, having the ability to communicate really well is essential. Dealing with farmers is probably the favourite thing about my role. Farmers are really genuine people. They're also really busy people that are managing really diverse businesses, complex businesses. So being able to work with them and deal with their schedule can be a challenge. So having those time management, having those organisational skills and the ability to communicate with people from different walks of life and different communities.